अब हम स्टार्ट करेंगे पार्ट थर्ड, ठीक है। द गैंट चार्ट। द गैंट चार्ट इस क्या होता है कि इज वेरी यूजफुल ग्राफिकल टूल एंड वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट साइंटिफिक टेक्निक फॉर प्रोजेक्ट प्लानिंग एंड शेड्यूलिंग के लिए गैंट चार्ट यूज करते हैं हम, ठीक है। आगे देखते हैं। क्रैश कॉस्ट इन प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट इज एसोसिएटेड विथ an activity when it's completed in the possible time which is lesser than the expected or normal time, ठीक है। क्रैश टाइम ये होता है क्रैश टाइम। आगे देखते हैं। for an identity for an activity the estimates for optimistic प्रीमेस्टिक एंड मोस्ट लाइकली टाइम्स इज टू। तो ये आपका फॉर्मूला सीधे पता है, टी नॉट दिया हुआ है, ठीक है, टी पी दिया है, टी एम दिया हो, तो आपको पता है टी नॉट प्लस फोर टी पी प्लस फोर टी एम बाई फोर होता है, ठीक है। तो सॉरी 6 होता है, ठीक है। तो ये फॉर्मूला आप लगा के 2 प्लस प्लस 4 इंटू 5 प्लस 12/6, ठीक है, करोगे तो 6 डे के ये आएगा 5.67 6 डे के करीब आ जाएगा, ठीक है। एक्सपेक्टेड टाइम ड्यूरेशन कितना है, 6 दिन होगा, ठीक है। अब वेरिएंस कितना कितना ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, तो लगभग देखो टी पी माइनस टी नॉट बाई 6 का होल स्क्वायर करके आप यहाँ से वेरिएंस 2.77 डेज आपका हो सकता है, 2.77, ठीक है। तो हेंस ऑप्शन बी 6 एंड 2.7 वेरिएंस हो जाएगा, ठीक है। अगला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। Filtration's rules, which is provide the scheme for numbering the events on a network, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट देखते हैं। डमी एक्टिविटी क्या होता है। डमी एक्टिविटी क्या होता है, आर्टिफिशियली इंट्रोड्यूस होता है, इट इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय डॉटेड लाइन, डज नॉट कंज्यूम टाइम, हेंस ऑल द अबव, ठीक है। ये आप एक्सप्लेनेशन भी पढ़ सकते हो। द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टाइम अवेलेबल टू डू जॉब एंड द टाइम रिक्वायर्ड टू डू द जॉब इज नोन, विच इज नोन ए फ्लोट, ठीक है। आगे बढ़ते हैं। द टाइम विच रिजल्ट इन द लीस्ट पॉसिबल कंस्ट्रक्शन विच इज ए क्रैश टाइम, ठीक है। ठीक है, क्रैश टाइम पे नहीं, सॉरी स्लो टाइम, ठीक है, लीस्ट पॉसिबल कंस्ट्रक्शन, ठीक है, स्लो टाइम कहते हैं, ठीक है। आगे बढ़ते हैं। बार चार्ट इज ड्रॉन फॉर, बार चार्ट टाइम वर्सेस एक्टिविटी, ठीक है। पर्ट रिक्वायर्स, पर्ट क्या रिक्वायर, ट्रिपल टाइम एस्टिमेट, ठीक है। In a CPM, the cost slope is determined by cost slope crash cost minus normal cost divided by normal cost minus crash time, ठीक है। से आप अपना एस्टिमेट कर सकते हो। अब देखो ये सेम क्वेश्चन फिर आ गया। ए इज द ऑप्टिमिस्टिक टाइम, बी इज द पेसिमिस्टिक टाइम एंड एम इज द मोस्ट लाइकली टाइम फॉर एन एक्टिविटी, देन द एक्सपेक्टेड टाइम एक्टिविटी इज, तो आपको पता है ए प्लस 4m प्लस बी बाई 6, अभी हमने देखा है फॉर्मूला, ठीक है। आगे देखते हैं। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर द गाइडलाइन फॉर द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ ए नेटवर्क डायग्राम। तो पहला एक्टिविटी द ईच एक्टिविटी इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय वन एंड ओनली वन एरो इन द नेटवर्क। टू एक्टिविटीज कैन आइडेंटिफाई बाय सम beginning and end event. Dangling, dangling must be avoided in a network diagram. Dummy activities consume no time or resource. Hence option 1, 3rd and 4th, ठीक है। Number of equation required to be analyzed in a given network by nodal analysis is equal to, which is 1 less than the number of nodes. Total float is the amount of time that a task in a project network can be delayed without causing a delay to the project completion date. The method which follows deterministic approach is, which is a CPM, ठीक है, critical path method. Direct cost of an activity which is decrease with increase in the duration, ठीक है। In case of PERT, if most pessimistic, optimistic and most likely time is 10 to 8, अभी आपको पता है 10 प्लस 4 इंटू 2 और प्लस 8/6, ठीक है। तो आप यहाँ से 44/6 आ जाएगा और आपका 7.33 विच, ठीक है, ये आ जाएगा। और फिर एक्सपेक्टेड वेरिएंस, वेरिएंस भी का आपका पता है सिग्मा इज इक्वल टू सी पी माइनस टी नॉट बाई 6 होता है, ठीक है। और 10 - 2/6 इक्वल टू 8/6 का स्क्वायर, ठीक है, तो होता है 16/9, ठीक है। तो यहाँ से आप सी आ जाएगा आपका, ये का इसका होल स्क्वायर होता है, ठीक है। In case of cash flow monitoring, it is recommended to draw cumulative diagram. ठीक है, in a part, if the length of two paths are equal, then critical path is decided on the basis of which is a standard deviation. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं. What is the main objective of critical path method in the project management, which is to determine the longest path of activities in a project and project duration. Critical path for CPM network, which is always longest. Exam point, in a PERT network there is uncertainty in project completion time. Activities assumed to follow beta distribution. 3 time estimates are made. It is event oriented network. In CPM network it is activity oriented. It is deterministic model. They fall may be float associated in an activity. Critical path, the longest path through network that contains zero negative float. The key output from the control schedule process is change request. CPM network analysis, it is activity oriented method. Time and cost are controlling factor. The project management plan, it is always highly detailed and focused. It cannot be changed unless senior management authority the change. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. रिगार्डिंग CPM टेक्निक ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट प्लानिंग, the critical path consists of those activities are which the total float is zero. It is not possible to complete an activity earlier than the crash time. ठीक है, project can be initiated by sponsor, PMO, a portfolio review board. The most critical activity of the project manager on the project is to perform integration on project piece, developing project charter and project management plan, directing and managing project. Executing all these comes under knowledge are project integration management execution process. ठीक है, which one of the following projects are those which are to be complete within a stipulated time, even at the cost of ending up with a higher project cost, which is a crash project. ठीक है, the concept of sunk cost in a project refers to the costs that have already been incurred and cannot be recovered. Statement, ठीक है, statement type question. Raw material are taken as traded items and their values at domestic and world price are estimated. Estimates to raw material which have a high value to volume ratio and involve proportionality, high transport cost and are imported are regarded as non-traded items. ठीक है, so we know that the statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false, statement 2 is false. ठीक है, next question देखते हैं. An individual investor who invests in e project usually during an earlier stage is which is an angel investor. ठीक है, a construction team include which is a owner, architecture, engineer, hence all of the above. ठीक है, in construction project management, sensitivity analysis is modeling technique used to determine the impact of uncertainties having significant impact on project. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. ठीक है, अब आगे एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट. प्रोजेक्ट एग्जीक्यूशन इज द लॉन्गेस्ट फेज इन प्रोजेक्ट, कंज्यूम मोस्ट रिसोर्स. Various tools used for project control are WBS, line of balance, procedure diagram, critical ratio, network simulation, program evaluation and review technique is probabilistic project control tool. Review meetings in a project are used as a project control tool, means to come at the senses or any unresolved issue as a project manager to efficient implementation of project. Establish clean authority and responsibility among project team members. Intern the project team members. ठीक है, सॉफ्टवेयर पैकेजेस यूज्ड फॉर प्रोजेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम आर स्केडा, प्रिज्म, प्रोजेक्ट प्लानर, प्रोजेक्ट शेड्यूलर, योगान. ठीक है, in resource allocation is assume resource and time both limited. Resource smoothing consider limited resources and unlimited time. In a project, time cost trade-off correct. The time and cost are resource taken case of they are managed by project manager. Crashes are it reduce the total time of project. Event crashing, some known critical activities may become critical. Crushing describe a technique which speed up in project by reallocating the existing resource or assigning additional resources to the project. Communication management plan in a project is described by how, when, and whom information about project will be administered, and this detailed plan for information delivery need include format and level of detail. Which of the statement given below is not correct? When there is a dispute in construction site, तो आपको पता है the contractor has to stop the work till the settlement of dispute. ठीक है. What is the purpose of crash time in project management? It is the minimum possible time for completing an activity using extra resource. Crash is a reduction of duration. Crash. ठीक है. अब project monitoring and control देखते हैं. Consider the following statement. The broad areas of corporate appraisal and the few important aspects to be considered under them are, which is a marketing and distribution, production and operation, resource and development, and option A is correct. Which of the following type of project management start when actual work start, which is a project controlling? In construction work, the controlling functions aim at, which is aim at keeping at watch over the physical progress and each activity of the work, controlling the expenditure on each item of work, controlling the use of machine and material, hence all of the given option. The function of management that involve proper communication, leadership and motivation to accomplish the set objective is, which is a directing. The process in which a difference between the plan and actual performance are reviewed after the project has started is known as, which is a controlling. During the construction stage, cost control of the project can be best achieved in which of the following areas, which is the labor and plants equipment. Exam point where a 3-time estimate used in scheduling is related optimistic estimate, most likely estimate, pessimistic estimate. A process follow chart while performing quality control on project may help in understanding the cost of quality in progress. The process is considered out of control when a data point exceed control limit. 7 consecutive points are above the mean, 7 consecutive points are below the mean. Extensive motivators refer to incentives such as rewards, gifts, or money. The category of cost can experience on a project are direct, indirect, variable, fixed. Schedule compression technique in a network are fast tracking crashing. Rolling web planning in the form of progressive elaboration. The responsibility to maintain project quality is to the project manager. A resource histogram shows number of resource at any given time, resource utilization when resource come or of the project. By performing which of the following functions the construction manager can achieve the project goal? Envisaging the task ahead, setting target and monitoring performance, motivating the workforce, building the line supervision team, which is all of the option is correct. Study the given statement and identify the correct answer. Statement 1. A leader are willing to learn and grow personally, whereas management refer existing proven skill. Statement B. Result management are intangible, whereas results of leadership is measurable. Hence, statement A is correct, but statement B is incorrect. Project closure and termination. The annual financial statement of the receipts and expenditure is known as, which is known as balance sheet. ठीक है. Quality circle in the construction industry can have the following participant, which is a engineer, architecture, contractor, raw material supplier, client and consultant, hence all of the above. ठीक है. According to Black's law dictionary, the law treat the corporation itself as a person which is a sue and be sued. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. Internal audit are used to verify whether products conform to technical specification, quality management system are effectively implemented, hence 2 is only correct. Project management audit consists of which of the following: project work breakdown, structure verification and reversal, risk identification, cost level and security. Third, measurement of risk impact. Hence, all of the option is statement is correct. Who is responsible to audit the activity of store minimum 2 times in a year, which is the EE. EE responsible to audit the activity store minimum 2 times in a year. A project can be used when scope is completed, after the project expectance by customer, when project run out of money, need of officially closing the project to let people know that no additional work will be needed in the project, to stop further expenses, to officially signify ending on effort, to stop administrative activity. Audit of a project can be done before completion of project, after completion of project. Administrative closure in a project can occur at the end of a phase, at the end of a project, if project is abruptly terminated for whatever reason may be. The tool being used to estimate in practical impossible or unrealistic project is motherboard. ठीक है? The cost on a project that have already been expended are sunk costs. The key output of the closure can be final product, service, result, transition. An organization culture can be described by enterprise environmental factor, the comparison of project activity against non-standardized benchmarking. Contract closure occur prior to administrative closure on the project because vendor get time to submit final bill before final closure. Which of the following a personnel is responsible for planning, implementing, and overseeing the construction activity at the site to meet the requirement of ISO 9001 policy, which is a quality assurance and quality control in charge? The basic objective of which one of the following is to supply and support the field operation so that established time objective can be met and cost can kept within the construction budget, which is a resource management. In civil engineering project, the concept of value engineering primarily focus on which is optimizing the cost and function of project component. In the context of value engineering in civil engineering project, which of the following best describe the main objective of process, which is maintaining or improving a project function while minimizing its cost? An entrepreneur who is the owner of more than one business is known as portfolio entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur takes decision on behalf of his enterprises, it is known as organizational decision. Updating may result, which is a changing of critical path, decrease in project completion time, increase in project completion time. Hence, all of the above. Resource smoothing will be adopted when wages and resources are unlimited. Okay. Which of the following is not included under the definition of wages given under the Payment of Wages Act 1936, which is a gratuity? Okay. Except which of the following the rest are included in the safety management plan of the construction industry, which is a quality of food supply for employees. In resource leveling, which is total duration of project is increased. Which of the following skill is not considered essential for entrepreneurship development, which is a precastination and indescriptiveness? In the time cost optimization using CPM, the crushing of the activities along the critical path is done starting with the activity having which is the least cost slope. ठीक है, एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट देख लेते हैं. यूनिट प्राइस contract provides a fixed price where the supplier agrees to furnish goods and services at unit rates, and final price is dependent on the quantities need to carry out the work. If in a project earned values become equal to actual cost minus cost performance index 1, there is no cost variation. For the responsibility assessment matrix, RAM defines what project team is responsible for each WBC. Compare tell which project manager is responsible for each activity, defines all people associated with each activity. The quality auditors, they must be properly trained. A project is formally closed by a closure report. In a project past analysis after scheduling, finished state of a project has a CPI 0.6 and CPI 1.2. This means you are achieving RS 0.6 for every rupees and you are ahead of the schedule. A negative value of cost variance means you are achieving less than you spend. CPI values will be 0. Higher value of earned value and actual value means cost performance index is greater than 1. We cannot tolerate schedule performance index with given information. Contract closure procedure, earlier termination of a contract because of a predatory branch settling, and finally close the contract agreement. Product verification by stakeholder and administrative closure. To purpose final project report, to explain the failure cause in the failed project, to make everyone know officially the project has been closed, to prepare acceptance of the final product service result. ठीक है? The reduction in project time normally result in which is increasing the direct cost and decreasing the indirect cost. Cost benefits study are essential to evaluate the viability and worthwhileness of taking up the project. Tender and contract for the following which facilities are provided for units in the report process zone, hence which is first developed plot ready building to suit project requirements. Second one is second hand capital good allowed to be export, and the assured power supply preferential power connection, hence C is the correct option. Boston Consulting Group, the BCG matrix classify the various businesses in the firm portfolio on the basis of which is a relative market share and relative market growth rate. Which one of the following is a particular form of collusive price fixing behavior by which firm coordinates their bids on procurement or project contract, which is a bid rigging? Which of the following concepts are relatable to income of members of the public while considering public welfare? Which is correct? The C. Sensitivity and elasticity of demand are price related, while elasticity and sensitivity of expenditure related to income. Income elastic of demand measures the responsiveness of consumer of a particular good to a change in their income. A security deposit detected from contractor will is a refund after maintenance period. Consider the following requirement of document for agreement to sign by a contractor: project letter of acceptance, general condition of contractor, conditions of particular application, technical specification, drawings, price, bill of quantity. Hence all of the option is correct, statement is correct. At the time opening of tenders, invited for public work by publicly body, hence the correct as the contractor is invited to remain present. In a civil engineer work contractor, the purpose for of appointing an arbiter is to, which is the avoid legal formalities, delay and expenses. The main purpose of forming the condition of contractor is which is to avoid the dispute between parties. If a contractor fails to complete the work, an agency is employed to execute a part of a whole of the work at the cost of contractor. Such agency is known as which is a debatable agency. Which of the following is not one of the main purpose of estimating in civil contract, which is to form a basic of attribution and litigation? Earnest money is generally asked to deposit, which is at the time of submission of bid. The pre-tendering stage of contraction required, तो सिलेक्शन ऑफ साइट के टाइम पे भी करते हैं, एक्विजिशन ऑफ लैंड के, फाइनलाइजेशन ऑफ डिजाइन, हेंस ऑल ऑफ द दीज. ठीक है. Next question. Payment mode to the contractor for the material brought site which are to be used on work is called, which is a mobilization advance. An agreement which is enforceable by law is called, which is a contract. A fixed stipulated sum of penalty payable by the contractor having no relationship with real damage is known as, which is a liquidated damage. At the time of tender submission, the contractor pays some amount to agency inviting tender towards his willingness for the work is known as, which is the earnest money. Identify the incorrect item which not considered from below in the preparation of project estimate, which is a selection of contractor in contract and tender, which authorities will is the only form of running account bill that are suited for transaction with supplier, which is the running account bills. Earnest money to be deposited by the contractor at the time of tender is dash as the estimated, which is 2%. ठीक है, अगला देखते हैं. Which of the following statement are correct with respect to cost in the building estimate? First, building estimate index is the ratio of actual building cost and estimated building cost. Second, building cost index indicate the increase or decrease of the cost above the cost at the certain base year. The contractor's profit is added in rate analysis. The contractor profit is not added in the rate analysis. Hence, 2 and 3rd is the correct statement. ठीक है, यहाँ देख लेते हैं. बिल्डिंग cost index estimate, it is based on the percentage of change in average building cost at the particular place. It is not accurate method. Building cost index indicate the increase or decrease of the cost above the cost at a certain base year. The contractor profit is added in the rate analysis. In the contest construction contract, what does term variation refer to, which is mean change to the project design or scope of work? Given that the scope of the construction work is with the contractor with the design, procurement, construction, commissioning and handover the project, which one of the following type of the contract could most preferred, which is a EPC contract? Performance security is refunded to the contractor after issue of defect liability certificate. While submitting a tender, the contractor is required to deposit some amount with the department as a guarantee of the tender is known as, which is earnest money. Security deposit deducted at 5% from contractor bill is, which is refunded when the defect liability period of 6 months and 1 monsoon, whichever is later, is over. Yeah. Consider the following statement regarding the advantage of planning of the contractor. First statement, the programming provides a standard by each actual work can be measured. Second statement is the program provides pre-convicted plan of the whole job as well as various stages of the work. Hence, both statement is the correct statement. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. ठीक है. Which of the following correct in the context of contract management? Every agreement need not to be contract, but all contract are agreement. An agreement is typically not enforced by law, whereas contract is enforced by law. ठीक है. तो आई थिंक बोथ आर करेक्ट. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं हम. Which of the following represent the requirement of valid contract? First is the lawful subject matter, legal competent property parties, valid consideration, fair consent. Hence, all of the statement is correct. The contract document schedule B consists of tender rate per unit quantity, cost of each item, total of all item. Hence, all is the correct. ठीक है. Which of the following is the advantage of item rate contract, which is the addition and alteration in the plan and specification can easily made at any stage. The essential element of contract is which is a offer and acceptance. Dash estimates are either submitted to the client to secure tender contract or secure the project, which is a bid. In the cost plus contract method, the contractor is paid, which is the actual cost plus a fixed percentage as profit. When an offer with a certain terms and condition is given in written form, it is known as which is a tender. ठीक है. What is the full form of EMD? तो आपको पता है earnest money deposit. Which of the following contract is not measurement contract, which is a lump sum contract? ठीक है. While submitting tender by three envelope method, which envelope contains the period tender form the signature of the tender, which is envelope 3. When tender is available to only limited number of contract to fill up such tender is called as which is a selected tender. Tender documents consist of which of the following parts? Scheduling of item of work, location of work, hence both is the correct. Which of the following is a type of contract is construction management, hence cost plus bid free contract and unit price contract, hence all is the correct. Which of the following is not included in the tender document? Contract agreement, special term and condition, approved drawings, hence only one is not included in the contract. Next देखते हैं. A tender is said to be informal when it is not submitted in the form of solid by the department, when the tender is not properly filled in or signed by the contractor, when the tender is made conditional by way of adding indefinite and uncertain liabilities of usual character is to, when it is not supported by requested earnest money in the manner prescribed for purpose of PWD form, hence all is the correct for tender said to be informal. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. In a contract administrator is responsible for planning of contract, drafting of contract, closing of contract, and all is the correct. Which of the following type cost plus contract allow the amount of reimbursement to increase the contractor cost increase, which is cost plus a percentage fee contract. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. Dash is the type of contract in which all the material for construction are arranged and supplied to the site of work by department or owner, which is a labor contract. A type of contract system where the contractor undertake the execution of specific work with all its contingency, which is the lump sum contract. In the analysis of rate, the profit for the contractor is generally taken as 10%. Dash is the offer writing for executing certain specified work, which is a tender. अब exam pointers of important point देख ले. Bill is a statement of fees or charge from seller to buyer become voucher after contractor signs, is similar to invoice except invoice is prepared by third person. ठीक है. A unit of cost variance and schedule variance from rupees and rupees. The amount of money that remains to be spent on project that 1/5 complete is called estimate to completion. Project cost management is primarily concerned with the scope baseline. ठीक है. Cost estimate are based on the scope baseline, human resource plan, risk register. Benefits of meeting quality requirement in our project: decrease rework and decreases cost, increase productivity and increase stakeholder satisfaction. ठीक है. The earned value calculation include plant value. ठीक है. अब नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. Calculating cost or schedule variance, it becomes out to be negative. That means you have either over budget or behind schedule. 261. A contract is an agreement between, ठीक है. A contract is correct agreement between two parties enforceable by law, can be oral or written. ठीक है. For a valid contracts are true, there must be an offer and acceptance to that offer. The consent of the parties to the contract shall be free and genuine. ठीक है. Different types of contract according to PM body of knowledge include fixed price, cost plus turnkey, time and material, unit price, and time and material contract. In a fixed price contract, the most risk variable is seller. Contract elements are capacity, consideration, acceptance. In a tender, earnest money can be converted into society deposit. Security deposit is returned after defect liability period. In a tender, security deposit is taken only from the successful bidder, is returned after liability period. Make run the tender does the work as per contract. In a tender, letter of intent is issued to successful tender. A green public procurement is a procurement mainly to promote accessibility. A conclusion among bidder to reduce completion is called fraud. Bidder conference is question and answer session of all bidder legal. A single source means there are many companies but you are determined to do business with particular company. ठीक है, ये हमारा कंप्लीट हो गया आपका प्रोजेक्ट बेसिक को प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट. अब हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो में इंडस्ट्रियल सेफ्टी एंड सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स देखेंगे. ठीक है, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो. प्लीज़ लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब दिस वीडियो.